We have 3 general faculty meetings a year. There's one in September, there's one in January, and then there's one in May. So what I was trying to get to at the end of the meeting today was what processes do we have left to do before people are ready to vote on it. And I think we got a list of about 4 or 5 things. So we're going to start working, try to get those done, send them out, and then we'll probably just kind of test the waters and see, are we ready yet? There are 2 committees that it has to go through before it comes back here. There's the Academic Affairs Committee, which monitors curriculum, and then there's the Faculty Senate, which no matter what you're voting on, whether it's parking or you name it, it goes through Senate. So that group will have to okay this as an item to be voted on in either January or May. A faculty should review the curriculum in some kind of timely way, even if they think it's working well. Every 5 years is the model that we use at Washburn. And so what do we do every 5 years to look at it to determine what we think is important? 2 years ago, as I understand it, a year before I came, the faculty decided instead of thinking about 9 skills, they wanted to think about 5 overall learning outcomes. And so that change led to then a discussion of, if we're moving from the 9 to 5, how do we structure the rest of the curriculum so that we really know that we're addressing those 5 particular areas. And so that's where a lot of the discussion came about how many classes do we have in each of those areas, and who gets to decide which ones, and does everybody have to take the same thing. Components, talked about the components in the general education model that the Academic Affairs and an ad hoc committee are working on. And it included the things that would be required for all students, the things that would be left to the units to decide for all students, and then electives, majors. So we just discussed possible courses that fall in those categories and how we would decide which ones belong where. An important topic, because I think everyone in the room feels like writing is important and that a second writing experience is important. I think the conversation had a lot to do with, do we want everyone in one class, for example, EN 300, or do we want people in variations of EN 300, so maybe EN 300 for business, EN 300 for nursing, or do we think that that level of writing instruction can happen in another area, so that if you had a 300 level course in a particular discipline, could that course be writing intensive, and could the English faculty be working with the faculty in that particular discipline to help them in terms of improving the writing skills for students? So that was the English conversation. The 198 course, the wellness course, the conversation I think is about, do we want to have that one particular class required for everyone, no matter what their area, what their discipline, or do we want that to be an option that students could take to satisfy requirements for a degree, but not all students would have to take that particular course? Same thing. So I think that's an important part of it. Assessment, just everyone is increasing the emphasis on assessment as a way of knowing if students are learning. And so in addition to talking about what courses that we need, what experiences we need, there is the idea of what assessments are we going to use? Do we want to test somebody what they know about math the day before they start at Washburn, and then 4 years later and see how much that changed? Do we want to let the math courses do that within and use regular tests to exit? And if they get to 80% or above, then we think they have competency. That assessment is really important. And it's not just here. I mean, the state wants to know that. The people in Washington, D.C. want to know that. And partly they want to know that so that we can look our students in the eye and say, look at what you learned, and so you paid us, and we think we added value to that. And I think that's an obligation that we have, to try to make sure that students are learning and that we're doing everything we can to teach well and to document how well we're doing. And if it's not working, then we change.